Hey guys, Claude Johnson here. Hope you're doing okay today. So today I want to talk about something that I call mini harmonies, and I'm really talking about like two-note stuff, like two notes at a time. Okay, I think it's really powerful. It's a really nice dimension you can add to your playing, blues, rock, or whatever. A lot of times when I'm talking about riffs, I'm talking about the rhythmic aspect, but today we're going to really kind of focus on the harmony aspect, harmonic concepts. All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to try to do a brain dump and kind of share what's on my mind with this stuff. All right, so the first concept is that, when you're playing these kind of things, playing riffs or whatever, it's never just like one thing. It's always going to sound musical when you combine different things. So today I'm in the key of B. So what I mean by that is like, you could harmonize up the scale. But if you only did that, it would kind of... You can do a lot with just that, but it sounds more musical if you start combining that. So in other words, I'm going from, when I do this, that's just like playing in thirds, but when I do this, I'm changing from a third interval to a fourth. So you may recognize that as kind of the suspended sound. Okay. Another really powerful one is like, if I'm up here on the top two strings, right here I've got my root, the high root, and then below it the fifth. So you can think of that as almost like a mini power chord. But what you can do is then you move the fifth up to the sixth. You can do a little hammer on there. So I'm kind of plucking to get that sound. I'm using my middle finger to pluck the high E string, and then I'm down stroking the B string. So I'm kind of pinching it like a little sandwich there. And then I'm just hammering on. So that's kind of with what's going on with the fingers, but harmonically what's going on is that I'm moving from my root fifth to root sixth. So that kind of leads me into the next concept, which is oblique motion. That's what it's called in traditional music theory. You've got your parallel motion, which is again what I was just doing earlier, where the voices are moving together in the same direction. You've got contrary motion, where they're moving in opposite directions. That's a whole conversation unto itself. And then you've got oblique motion, where one note stays the same and the other notes are moving. So that was just a perfect example. But you can do it, it doesn't have to be there, it can be in different places. That one. You can really use like any, start anywhere. And you can get a lot of interesting sounds. I think this is like one of those things that I stumbled upon early on and didn't really understand it. I think, sometimes I psych myself out when I'm, like many years ago, I would play something like this and just kind of dismiss it. Even though it does sound musical, I didn't really, I wasn't like, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I just kind of like went on to the next thing. I wasn't playing the four-note chords or whatever. So it's easy to just overlook this stuff and just say, oh, all I'm doing is like moving one note. But later, recently, it's like I come back to that and seeing how powerful it is. In a way, it's like a more sophisticated way because you're working with just like the raw building blocks of harmony, one note at a time. Okay, so these little two-note harmonies can be really good. Another thing that I discovered, I don't know if there's a name for this kind of motion exactly, but it's a kind of oblique motion where you have like two notes and then your top note becomes your bottom note, or your bottom note becomes your top note. So for example, in the key of B, this is my third and fifth, which is basically like a, you know, major triad without the root. Now you can switch to your third and root. Or from there, you can switch to your... So basically just, you know... Here's another one. So you have your root fifth here. And then you can go to your fifth, seventh. So in other words, yeah, just here's my top note, and then that becomes my bottom note for this little 2-note chord. This is another one. And another, yeah, and so on. So anyway, that's a very powerful thing, I think. So play around with these, you know. Now, if you're getting lost, like just kind of lost in the weeds, like, well, what am I doing? I'm playing around with these notes, but I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. What I do is I try to just relate it back to like the root, or in a blues, I just you know, I try to relate it back to like a dominant 7 root, basically. So if I'm in B, you know, and the groove is also important. So just play like a single chord with a groove, and that'll kind of just... Now, if you want to make it really even more musical, you want to play through the whole 12-bar progression. I did another video on that, but let's just stay on one chord for now, and then you just like take any part of that chord and you start moving notes around. Another thing you can do is obviously not just stay in the root position. You can move up here, for example. So again, root, but that's my higher root, root third, root fourth. And you'll notice things sound totally different if you move them up or down an octave sometimes. Here's another concept, which is instead of just moving like, so for example here, I have root third and root fourth, but I can also go root fifth. So fifth, so it's like 3 different notes with the same second note in there. I don't know if that's a weird way to say it, but so I have root third, root fourth, and root fifth. So in all those little combinations, the one note is staying the same, which is the root in this case. Another one would be like so here I'm just going, I still have the root, but then below it I have 7th, 6th, 5th. So again, it's a form of oblique motion where you're keeping the notes the same. All right, so anyway, I hope all that made sense. Again, just mini harmonies. Throw them into your blues riffs. You know, again, don't forget the groove. Don't forget to, you know, tie it back to real music. Keep working on your songs. You can check out my blues guitar song collection, or what I call, I guess it's called your blues repertoire. Is the name of the course. But you can also check out my free course, which is called 7 Blues Guitar Secrets That Save You Years of Practice. I'll put the link in the video description. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll talk to you soon.